Hey everyone, for this video I want to test out if I can change out a little bit of my hard white wheat to soft white wheat to see if it would change my bread. Now here in the spring of 2022, if you are a miller like I am for your wheat berries, you probably have realized that hard white wheat is really hard to find right now. And I decided to just go ahead and make this video and see together, we're going to do this, of whether or not if I change out half a cup of my recipe to soft white wheat and then up the hard red wheat half a cup. And then I'm thinking if this works out kind of well, we're going to sit there and make another video and up the soft white as well. Now, for those who do not know and have not seen my previous videos with the hard white wheat and bread making and milling, my recipe calls for 2 cups of hard red wheat and 1 cup of hard white wheat. Now, just to remember, hard wheat has a high gluten content and low moisture content. So that's what makes the bread rise and become very fluffy. And that's due to the high protein that is in hard wheat. Now, soft wheat has the total opposite of a high moist content and a low gluten content or protein content. So that's why your breads you usually use hard wheat, okay? Besides your quick breads like your cakes, your cookies, your pastries, and so forth, you would use soft wheat. But since hard white wheat is becoming kind of scarce because of the smaller harvest of this past crop for hard white, there is more hard red available and little to no hard white wheat. You can still find it, but you're going to be paying through the nose, at least I am. So I decided I have an abundance of soft white wheat. I was going to switch and do this experiment. Now the only thing I am changing in this bread recipe is I'm switching out to add an extra half a cup of hard red wheat and switching it to half a cup of soft white wheat. And then I'm also going to add in here this sunflower lecithin powder. I'm going to do a tablespoon of it to kind of help with the softness of the bread. So everything else is the same. 1.5 cups of hot water, 1/3 cup of oil, 1/3 cup of honey, 1 egg, 2 teaspoons of salt. I'm going to mill my flour. And then I'm also going to add a tablespoon of the sunflower lecithin, and I'm still going to do the tablespoon of yeast, and that's all I'm going to do. Now, over here I already have my 2.5 cups of hard wheat, and as you can see here, these are kind of elongated and they have kind of a red tint to them. Okay, this is hard red wheat. Under here, I'm going to go ahead and scoop out my soft white wheat, and we're going to do half a cup, and I'm going to add it to this hard red wheat and show you. So this wheat is different, all right? So, and this is organic. It is not nearly as elongated as the hard red wheat. It's kind of more, I guess, oval shaped, honestly. Here, I'm going to put this over here and we'll go ahead and pour it in, and I'll hold this back up. So this is just half a cup of soft white wheat that I'm going to go ahead and mill in with my 2.5 cups of hard red wheat. And it's going to go, of course, into my bread machine as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start milling this, and I'm going to prepare everything else in front of you. And then we're going to put it in, and we're going to have the exact same homemade setting that I always use for my bread. And then after it's done mixing, kneading, and rising and baking, I will come back and pull it out, and I will show and we'll look at the comparison. And then probably tomorrow we'll do a blind taste test to figure out if there really is that much difference in flavor and texture and so forth. Okay, so that is everything into the container. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the bread machine and press the button for it to go. And then in about 2.5 hours, once it's done baking, I'll come back and we'll pour out the bread together and see what it looks like and start comparing. All right, so our bread timer just went off to signal that it is done baking in the bread maker. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out and place it here on the cooling rack, and we're gonna go ahead and look and see if there's any visual differences. I can tell you right now, it smells very similar to what it does when I'm making my regular 2 cups of hard red and 1 cup of hard white bread. So I'm gonna see, looks any different, if it's raised more or starts sinking in, and we'll go from there. All right, just from looking at it before we pop it out, I can say that it has raised slightly more than what the normal bread recipe does. Now that could be due to the humidity in my house, that could be due to how warm it is. It could also be due to the sunflower lecithin that I put in as well. So let's go ahead and plop this out and see. Go ahead and flip it. It seems to me to be a lot fluffier. Let me try this little piece. Has the same crust, little bit different flavor, but I'm not quite sure if it's enough to sit there and notice. I would say the flavor is not super duper noticeable. It's slightly more of the nutty flavor that you get with red hard wheat, which is normal because we did add another 1/2 cup with it. This is bread that I made a few days ago, probably Saturday, I would say. As you can see, it is taller. So I'm wondering if once it starts to cool, if it's gonna sink in. I think we'll find that out tomorrow after it cools. It feels about right, but I do think that it's a lot lighter and fluffier. So I do think that this probably will collapse a little bit, which is okay. If it collapses down, then I will redo this whole process without the sunflower lecithin in it to see if maybe that part that we added in just makes it too soft. So we will find out tomorrow morning if it sinks or not. All right, it is the next morning here and the bread is all nice and cooled. It's been sitting out overnight on the cooling rack, and we're gonna go ahead and cut it open and compare the texture and then also the flavor of the bread. Now, this is my original recipe of 2 cups of whole wheat, 1 cup of hard white wheat, both of them are hard, and we're going to compare what's left of this to the new using of 1/2 cup of soft wheat instead of hard white wheat. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut open the end and see what the texture is, and I'm going to cut a couple more slices after, and then I'll have my husband come taste test it and everything, and I'll test it too. But surprisingly, it's the same texture. It looks just as dense as this bread. So to me, it looks pretty much the same. The only difference is the one with the soft wheat is quite higher, taller, and I am not sure if that is due to the sunflower lecithin that we used 2 on top of it or not. So I will definitely be doing this again to test and take that out to see if maybe it does become the same structure and texture as the original. So let's see. It's soft and fluffy. It's a lot softer. It's a lot softer, more like store-bought bread than the hard original one.
Seeing you cutting bread.
I know, he's excited.
He was seeing you cutting bread. He's like, I want that.
Same, the only difference is the height. I know you want some. Relax. Okay. You want the rest of that? Does it taste any different? It's a lot softer, a lot fluffier.
Taste is very similar.
Yum? Now you have it. The 1-year-old approves.
It's good.
It is good.
Taste is slightly different, but the other one is more fluffy.
Yeah, the other one is...
Which, for some people who do not like the density of the original recipe that you're doing, this may be a great option.
This may be a better.
Lighter bread out of it.
Yeah, because it's definitely a lot more like... Okay, here. Okay. A lot more like store-bought bread. What? Okay. I think I'm going to definitely try out next doing a full cup of soft white with 2 cups of hard red to see if the texture changes more at all. And I'm going to leave the sunflower lecithin in. And then I'm also going to do one where I do half a cup of soft white with 2.5 cups of hard red and taking that sunflower lecithin out to see if maybe that has anything to do with the raise and how high the loaf is. So stick around for those videos.